cannot achieve a truly independent investigation as long as Manitoba Crown prosecutions and the police are involved.
The often criticized Manitoba Independent Investigation Unit could look different if proposed legislation moves forward, but are the changes steps in the right direction? Justice Minister Cameron Friesen introducing proposed amendments to the Police Services Act that he says would see the IIU, a police oversight body, strengthened in their ability to hold police accountable. Among the changes, a position would be added to ensure Indigenous engagement in investigations, along with a liaison program to allow more community-level input.
From speaking with individuals in northern communities, sometimes they do feel as though the police are separate and apart from their community and maybe don't directly answer to their community. So having that in place, I think, is maybe key to helping them deal with that divide.
Also a notable change, discontinuing the appointment of current police officers to serve on active internal investigations.
That doesn't necessarily mean that retired police officers wouldn't still be serving, and it doesn't really entirely speak to the wider issue of how much this investigative unit is connected to government, and specifically the Justice Department.
Colleen Bell studies the role of police power in society. She says some of these changes are objectively good, but some don't speak to criticisms often raised, like the investigators' impartiality.
We're now looking at 30 years past the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry, where there were 296 recommendations made. And one of those recommendations was that the IIU be completely independent from the Manitoba Crown and the police, and we're not seeing that with these proposed changes.
Danielle Morrison, counsel for the family of Aisha Hudson, who was shot and killed by a police officer in 2020, says moving in the right direction isn't enough if the fundamentals that make up the IIU aren't addressed first. The new legislation also implements penalties to officers that fail to comply with investigations and will provide more detailed reports to the public.
When reports are made and they're released, yes, they are public, but they're all through the lens of people who have very close ties with the Winnipeg Police, with the RCMP, and they have an interest in maintaining good relationships with those people.
It's going beyond some of the current oversight agencies, but it's also playing catch up with some of the other ones.
Eric Lamming studies police accountability. He says at least 3 other serious incident response teams across Canada still use police officers for internal investigations, saying this is a good move for Manitoba, but says this isn't the last time the IIU should update their ways.
Not one agency is better than the other. Not one agency is perfect. There's still a lot of limitations with them. I mean, the SIU's been around for 31 years now, and there's still issues and limitations with that agency. So these are always a work in progress.
The bill proposing these changes still needs to be passed in legislature. In Winnipeg, Mike Albanese, City News.